Welcome to Data Viz with Class. I'm Caleb Class. Today I'm going to show you how to make a perfectly good interpretable bar graph, and then I'll show you how to ruin it, make it confusing. Hopefully by doing this, you'll understand how to make more informative visualizations in the future. Today I'm going to compare nutrition data from the top 3 burger chains in the US. Specifically, I'll compare each chain's signature burger, a medium fry, and a salad. I looked up the calorie data in each company's website. You can find a link to the data in the episode description. From Wendy's, I got the Dave's Double, medium fry, and a Cobb salad. From Burger King, I got a Whopper with cheese, a medium fry, and they don't have a salad, but they do have plant-based meat, so you're getting an Impossible Whopper instead. Our McDonald's order is a Big Mac and fries, and they don't have a salad at all. They don't have plant-based meat either, so you're getting apples. So I usually buy my kids Happy Meals on Wednesdays because I'm dad of the year. Lately they started complaining that they get too many Happy Meals. And I say, what do you want? And they say Happy Meals. Now the chicken nuggets are good. I usually end up eating half the chicken nuggets. The apple slices are gross.
Alright, here we go. We are going to load up the tidyverse and our data set. Easy peasy. Burger joint data, check in the episode description. Import. And you can see, pretty simple data set, just 4 columns. Got the restaurant, 3 restaurants, the item name, the menu item name, what item type, burger, fries, or salad, and how many calories in each one. All right, next I would like to order the restaurants by popularity or by number of locations rather than alphabetically. So we need to turn that column into a factor. Factor the restaurants, and we are going to make our levels the unique values of that column because they happen to be in the right order. We could also specify the order manually, but this will work for us. Now let's make a bar graph that lets us easily compare each item across the 3 chains. So we need to call our data set. I am going to set the x-axis to item type because that will group burgers, it'll group fries, it'll group salads. The height of each bar will be the number of calories. And then within each item type, we're going to color each bar by the restaurant. So we will set fill to restaurant. We will use geom_col because this is a column graph. In R, that's just a bar graph where you specify the length of each bar with the y-axis. Okay, so we've got X, Y, and restaurant set. So we need to set our position to dodge, and I will show you why. And I will also set color to black because I like having little outlines around my bars. And finally, why don't we set the width of the bars? I think about 0.7 will be good, but you could always switch it up.
Let's also set the fill for each bar to represent each restaurant's logo color rather than just using the default colors. This will make it a little easier to understand, but unfortunately, they all use red because a bunch of marketing people have figured out that red makes you hungry. It makes you hungry now and you gotta go to the drive-thru. So they all use red, so it's a little tricky, but we can figure out good colors to use for each one.
So I will use scale, fill, manual, and that lets us set each color individually. So I found these hex codes online for each logo. For McDonald's, let's go ahead and use those golden arches. So we'll give a kind of gold yellow look. Burger King's got good amount of orange for the bun in the logo, so we'll use that. And for Wendy's, Wendy gets the red because she got that pretty red hair. And we are just about there. We need a theme. I like the 538 theme. They do it pretty well. And let's give it a little title. reasonably informative title, Counting Calories.
If you got a better title, let me know in the comments.
Control Enter, Command Enter. Correct the typo. Correct another typo. It's GG Themes. And there it is. That looks pretty good.
So I think this is a clear and reasonably good looking bar graph. We can see within each group, within burgers, the Dave's Double has the most calories. The fries, they're all about the same. The salads, remember the apple slices, very little substance there, so that's going to be much lower. The Impossible Whopper, the Cobb salad, actually similar calories overall. We've got the bars colored by the restaurant logo. We've also got a legend right below it, so you don't have to shift your eyes too far to figure out what each restaurant is. So informative, it's also pretty good looking.
So what if we swap the grouping? So now, instead of X being item type and bill being restaurant, I'm going to swap it. Bill is item type, X is restaurant. So we're changing how we group the items. And so this is going to order burgers, fries, salads. So we should also change the color to brown for burgers, yellow for fries, and green for salad.
These are the exact same 9 bars. We changed the colors, we changed the grouping. Now it's very easy to compare within restaurants, but we're not comparing within item types anymore. It's much harder to compare within item types. So this is the exact same 9 bars, but we change how they're grouped together. That's the Gestalt principle of proximity, where we see things that are close to each other, we observe them as being part of the same group. So now it's easier to compare within groups than jumping across groups. So now we can easily see for McDonald's, we got burgers, fries, and then the apple slices have very few calories. We can compare within restaurants, but now if I want to compare the fries between restaurants, I'm looking across the whole bar graph, it's a lot harder. So if we want to compare within restaurant, this arrangement is better. If we want to compare within item type, the first arrangement was better.
So now, what if we change from dodging the bars to stacking the bars? So stacking is the default. You can also set it to stack using position stack. And when we do that, as you might expect,
the bars within each group on the x-axis are now stacked on top of each other. This is great in certain situations, but not great in others. So if we care about the total calories for each meal, stacking is a great way to do it, because now we can easily compare the total for McDonald's, the total for Burger King, the total for Wendy's. So we can compare the totals. We can also compare the salads since they're at the bottom of the bar graph, but it's a lot harder to compare the fries between the 3 restaurants than it was before. So this is great if we want to compare totals and compare one group. But if I want to order each of these items together as a meal and figure out which restaurant has the most or least calories, this is a great option. We'll see that McDonald's comes in the lowest at under 1,000 calories, still not healthy. The other 2 come in way higher, well above 1,500 calories, and that's really because you're ordering 2 entrees. You are getting a Whopper plus an Impossible Whopper at Burger King. You are getting a Dave's Double plus an entree Cobb salad covered with bacon at Wendy's. Okay, so if you were getting side salads, maybe this would be a reasonable meal, and this is a great way to make that graph. So let's go back to our original arrangement where we were grouping by item type, but let's get rid of the theme and the manual color setting.
And now we're using the default colors, so we really need to look over to the right to figure out which restaurant is which color. It's not the end of the world, but it's just a little bit harder to read.
Then there's some folks out there who like adding a little shadow effect. I think it looks nice. I had to do some searching to figure out how to do this because the Tidyverse doesn't make it easy, and it's kind of intentional on their part. They don't really think you should do it.
So we figured out how to do it, and you can see we got the same graph. We added a little shadow to the background. It does look kind of nice, but it is kind of drawing your attention away from the data a little bit.
Finally, I went online, figured out how to make a 3D bar graph using the Lattice Extra library. So we needed to change all of the character columns into factors to make this work. And then what we do is we put our calories, our number column, on the left side of the little squiggle, and then we put our factor columns on the right side of the squiggle.
So we hit go, and even after I correct my window size and make it readable, it's still a lot more confusing than our trusty 2D bar graph. There are certain aspects of the graph that I am able to compare, others are much harder to compare, but mostly my eyes are just darting all around the graph, not really understanding what I should be focusing on.
So let's go back to what we started with. This is kind of what I'd suggest doing. Certainly like to add little logos or menu pictures or things like that to it. Could make it even more informative, more interesting to look at it. But what I've got now, still pretty good, I think. How would you improve this graph? Have you found good uses of 3D graphs? And what's your favorite way to ruin a graph? Let me know in the comments.